Hello, welcome to Bad at Board Games. My name is Brad Blake, and I'm bad at board games, so you don't have to be. Today we're going to be talking about Skyrise from Roxley Games. Stick around, find out what my BGG rating is, find out what the value rating of this is, Deluxe versus the standard game, pros, cons, all those kind of fun things. Try to get through this quickly so we get you moving on to being able to go out and buy the game. Or not. All right, so we have Skyrise by Roxley Games. They've made a very nice deluxe version. And our designer is Gavin Brown, Sebastian Pochon, and Adam Weiss. And this just is delivering from Kickstarters right now. And let's see. Theme. So this is a remake-ish. I never played Metropolis, but it's supposed to be, I don't know if this is an exact copy and reskinned or they've made a few changes, but you are building cities up in the clouds, which is, seems kind of weird. One of the reasons I didn't back it, I just thought it was kind of like, I don't know if there's a game here, but I was wrong. So you're going to be selecting buildings and placing them down, and then your opponent's going to try to build a bigger, more expensive, higher numbered building, but they have to put that adjacent to you. And then whoever goes to the end, and I'll explain this in mechanics, gets to build their building. Everybody else pulls theirs up. But you're trying to populate this air city that is flying, think steampunk-ish, I guess, but I don't really feel like there's this giant steampunk theme in it. So if you hate steampunk, it shouldn't annoy you too much. If you like steampunk, there's just a little bit of it in here to kind of like, maybe enjoy it, but not over the top. The mechanics in this game, and I kind of disagree with this. So they're saying it's area majority, area control, and auction bidding are the two main, but it's not really one or the other. I figure like in auction bidding, and I guess it's similar to that, but I feel like in auction bidding, if we were going to go for one space, we would all be bidding to try to build a building in that space. The interesting thing about how this game plays is that you have all these buildings and they have different numbers, and it's kind of like Raw where nobody has a duplicate number. But somebody's going to start and they're going to place, like this one says 51, and you have to, because they're the first player, so to speak, they're going to place this down, and then the next player in turn is going to say like, well, I'm going to put a building down, but they have to bid or have a bigger building than the one that was played. However, you're not picking that spot. You're going adjacent to it. So you're snaking through. So it's not really area. It's not like El Grande where you're all vying for one spot. You are getting the last spot because nobody wants to outbid you, go higher than you. It's this interesting in between area. So now I have a building of 51 value, a building of 53 value. The next player is going to come in with the big boy at 93. They're going to place that down, and then the rest of the players don't want to use their super tall buildings, so to speak. And so then you pick up the buildings, the people who didn't win that round pick up their buildings and put them back on their tableau. And then the screen player who had the tallest building is going to go flip that over, and they're going to take the disc that's there. So each one of these spaces has a disc, kind of like how Cascadia does it, where you get the card and the disc on it. And those discs can allow you to make certain neighborhoods of different colors worth more points. There's also a hidden metric in this. So there's 4 letters, A, B, C, and D, and you randomly take these tokens, which are 3, 4, 5, and 8, and place them on A, B, C, and D. And the only people who can look at those values are if you get the letter of the token. I went heavy into these letters. I ended up winning, which was awesome. I thought I was going to get just blown out, but it. And then you have objectives like be the person with the most green, or be the person with the most yellow, or be the person with the most tan, yellow. There's like 4 different neighborhood colors on the board. And the nice thing that they did with the objectives at the beginning of the game is that each person's going to have a different color. So you think, oh, I've got green, so nobody's really going to want green. But that isn't necessarily true, because the green multiplier is going to be on other different neighborhoods on the map, because they just randomly get placed out. So it ends up being this interesting tug of war. And then halfway through the game, you have another set of objectives that you can get, and they score immediately once you place your monument down. So there's just so mechanic wise, try to sum it up. You're placing buildings adjacent to each other until everybody passes and they don't want to go any higher. So, it's incrementally getting higher. It can keep going around and around. Whoever places the max building, everybody else passes. They get to place that building. Everybody else takes theirs back. And then it goes again. The person who won that round is going to get to go first on the next round. So it changes up. And then, almost like Uno, when you get rid of all of your buildings, you're going to get a few extra points. Just 3 points, Jamon. But there's these different things during the game. If you have a building on each side of the bridge, you could get 3 points each, halfway through the game and then at the end of the game. So it brings this, like, it's not hard. And they're saying, now I'll get to the weight, but they're saying, like, at the same time, there's this depth, which reminds me of El Grande, like, I guess that's kind of a pro. Like, it's not El Grande, and it's not Cascadia, and it's not Raw, but, like, I don't like Cascadia, but I like the way that they have the tokens on top of the neighborhoods that, like, then allow you to have more of a multiplier for those neighborhood scores. It's not Raw, but it is with the bidding, because you're not bidding on one thing. You have to play, you may want the green neighborhood, and if you're going to want the green neighborhood, you're going to have to, like, go max to make sure somebody doesn't outbid you of that. Or you have to look around and see, can anybody outbid you, because you've been losing some of the buildings in the last couple turns, so now you can just keep taking them. So it intertwines almost those 3 things. And I love El Grande, I love Raw, and I had 0 expectations for this game, and it really surprised me. But some more pros on this. I like, if you get the Deluxified, and we'll get to the value proposition of this later, it's gorgeous. So that's like a given. But I enjoy the fact that it's an easy game to learn, but has a depth to it that way more than you would think. There's ways that you can go twice. If you get put in a corner and you're able to put a building down and nobody else can snake and go adjacent to you, you automatically get that place, and then you can place another building out. So being able to kind of maneuver things in a way, or look at the board, and especially in mid and later games where you can, get to go twice and help get your buildings out, so you might get those few extra bonus points. At the end of the game, the first person that removes all their buildings first is going to get the key to the city, and that's 10 points. The second person is going to get 5. Everybody gets to place all their buildings out. I was able to get rid of all my buildings second, and I ended up winning the game, but it was only 5 points, so I don't think that had that much to do with it. But it was all really tight. Like, we were all within, like, this 10-point range. I can even look it up. I thought for sure I'd be getting blown out, but it didn't play that way, which was awesome. And I didn't record it. I haven't been recording them lately. but I may have a picture of it. Da-da-da. You guys don't care. Just get to it, Brad. Aha. All right. So I got 129. The next player got 126. The next one was 120. And last place was 117. So, we were all right there within each other, and at different points, different people were ahead depending on how you were scoring things. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Cons, I don't know if I have any about this. It was easy to learn. I think the hardest thing to explain was that the snaking auction, because you're gonna place a building down next to something else that's already out there. It doesn't have to be your building, and then people are going to continue to play adjacent to that until everybody else passes, right? And I guess it would be the opposite in this quarter, because this is the tallest building. But then once that happens, you take your buildings back, and then the last person builds their building, and then they get to go first in the next round. In phase 2, you get these wonders that you can build, and that's kind of a trump card. So if you were just to place your wonder down immediately, you automatically get that space. No more bidding happens. So, it brings in another element that's like, oh, I've got this trump card. And then once you place your monument, there's objective cards that once you place it, you score immediately when you build that card. Like mine was, I get to score 2 points for every building that was around my monument when I placed it. And things like that. So, it's like, when do I want to play my monument? Do I need to get the green neighborhood because that's going to satisfy my end goal objective that I drew at the beginning of the game? Or do I want to try to max out my mid-game objective where when I place my monument, I'm going to get, points depending on how I place it and where I placed it. Just pretty slick. So I don't know of any cons with this. I really don't. This one kind of came out of left field. Had no expectations for it, and Derek, whose game this is, had no expectation for it, and then it was just like, this is pleasantly a nice surprise. A con, I guess, could be like, do I like it because it's the deluxified version? So the standard version, which has wooden towers, so you still get this 3-dimensional thing going on, but they're not they're not like a molded statue. So you're going to get the outline of a wooden meeple, but they are tall. They have different heights to them. Instead of having the 3-dimensional board like this one, it's cardboard. But I still think you're going to get the feel of like, oh, I'm building this city out here. It looks cool on the table. You're going to have all those kind of things going on with it. And I'm rambling just because. Player count, I thought this played really well at 4. I think 2 might not be the greatest, but I don't think it'll be bad. But I think 3 and 4 are definitely probably the more preferred areas. But I think this could play very well at 2. You wouldn't have any problems. But I think, if I were wanting to play this, I'd really prefer it at 3 and 4. It was more complex, and you had to like vie for who's going to do what and things, and it made it more fun. This does not play solo. It played fairly quickly, even with the teach. We were done in a couple of hours. We had enough time to play some Star Wars Unlimited afterwards. And then weight rating, it's saying it's a 2.5 on BGA. I feel like this is a little lighter than that. Now, I can see where like it has the depth, but to play it is not hard, to master it. Yeah, okay, it's a 2.5 if you're trying to master it. If you're just trying to play it, you can pick a number, place it down on here, and pick up a token. It's not hard to learn. I kind of look at, in my opinion, when you're looking at weight ratings, it's like, really, how hard is it learn to play? Yes, all games are hard to master. However, some simple games can be hard to master in that sense. But like, how hard was it actually to learn the game and remember how to play the game? I'm not gonna have to like, oh, what were the rules on that? This is fairly easy to remember. You could bring it back out. You might have to like, oh, in this case, what happens? But other than that, I think this is like a 2.25 and a little less, not a 2.5, in my opinion. And then the value rating, this thing I can see on Game Steward is like $150, as is all deluxe. I don't know what they sold it for with the Kickstarter. I would say that value rating, if you can throw money away and not worry about it, if $150 feels like $15 to you, go for it. If you just want the gameplay, which the gameplay is fun, the base game, retail game is around that $50 mark. I think this is a 5 out of 5 for value, for the play that you're getting. You could get even people who aren't so much into board games to maybe enjoy this. They may not fully understand, how to maximize points, but I don't think you have to. You can be like, oh, I won and I got the tallest building. So, and everybody's going to be able to get their buildings out. So it's not going to feel like, oh, Brad went out and got all his buildings, I'm immediately going to lose. That isn't necessarily the case. You're going to get to finish and play until all your buildings are out as well. So, nobody's going to feel kind of left behind in that sense. So I think for the $50-ish game on the retail side of this, 5 out of 5 for sure. Is it worth 3 times as much to get this cool stuff? Probably not. So you just have to go into that understanding that it's kind of like the Rome game where it's all the 3D pieces and it's like $500 and it's essentially, polyomino game that you're placing out. Rome, I can't remember the game. Very cool, very expensive. I've decided to pass on it because it's a lightweight game that looks great on the table. But this is probably a little bit heavier than that. But it's in that same ballpark. Do you need all this stuff? Definitely want all this stuff. But we have to budget. We have to know what's going on. BGG rankings. So we have not very many people have rated this yet. It's just now hitting the table, and these are going to be people that kickstarted it, so it's skewed. It's only got 273 ratings, and they're sitting at an 8.2 BGG rating. I think this is, I think it's an 8. I agree with it. I enjoyed it. I had zero expectations. Being surprised by a game kind of helps boost their number, no doubt about it. But like I said, it gives me this raw feeling with Cascadia, even though I don't like Cascadia, with El Grande. Like, there's something about that was kind of like hinting at all those different games and being able to pull this together. Like I said, I haven't played Metropolis. If you've played it and you liked it, you probably like this. If you've played it and didn't like it, this isn't going to cut it for you. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I hope you've enjoyed this review. I know I've been a bit rambly on it, a little bit all over the place, because it was just kind of like, I don't know what to say bad about it. I don't know how to critique it. I just enjoyed my play of it. It wasn't hard to learn. Like, there's just all these things that was like, wow, that was refreshing. And I kind of coming off a week where I was trying to take a break. I kind of needed that. And I think it hit at the right time and the right weight. And, I was able to have fun with the game. Oh, and I won. But I didn't think I was going to win. So that was just an added cherry on top. So let me know what you think. Do you know this game? I passed on this because I thought it was like, this doesn't seem interesting at all when it kickstarted. I was wrong. Did you kickstart it? Did you get the base game? Are you looking at the deluxe game? Or you wish you had kickstarted it now? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. I enjoyed talking with you, and thank you for subscribing. We're up to like 3,800, 3,900. I don't know. We were slow, so it was nice to see like an even number get there. Maybe we'll get to 4,000 probably by August or maybe sooner. Help us out. Subscribe, like, all those fun things. And just remember, no matter how you play, whether it's solo, with family, or friends, enjoy whatever you are bringing to the table. Have a great night.